Yay, we live. Oh no. It's
Is
my
it?
fault though.
Is everyone autistic here? Because I think
Nearly.
I am. I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I am too. But we were talking about something and how we've got a group called Autism Awareness, and its name really shouldn't be Autism Awareness because it's not about autism awareness. It's about drink awareness, and so from that we kind of just sort of I said, in fact, I could even open this up to the chat. Does anybody want a 1 terabyte hard drive? Because I'm thinking of swapping it out for an SSD.
Oh, yeah,
check,
that's a
check.
good deal. That's
Autistic check.
generous.
You can have it for free. I'll yeah.
I'll throw in a copy of Eric von Daniken's God's Book with all the pictures ripped out.
I've got some.
Chariots of the Gods. That's it.
I've got.
If it's hardback, I reckon. Yeah.
I've got some hemp flavored Rizzler skins if anyone wants them.
We could do a. we could do a. We could do a swap shop or something.
Oh, can we do this? Oh, apparently your intro's still playing, is it? I'm going to turn the sound up. Ah. Your guests don't know they could be heard at 3. Are we live? Yes, we are live, Grief. For yes, we are doing what's called a warm welcome because otherwise I get anxiety and I like.
Was that your thumb, Grief, on that photo you posted in Telegram today? That was evil. That was like wicked. That was it. I reckon you should go to casualty because that looked like you might have a fracture if that was you. Because that was really swollen, and I'm just saying that looked pretty nasty.
Hey, can like people hear Hemi because I can hear myself and I can hear Zero in the stream, but no Hemi.
I can hear everyone.
Ah, yeah, but can the chat hear everyone?
Don't know.
All
No,
right,
you're not. You're not there. The chat says you're not there.
give it a couple of seconds.
I'm going
Oh,
to read
there's
my.
no Hemi.
I'm going to read my avant-garde poetry if you don't come on in a minute. He said, "Grief can hear you, but you're like at 1% volume."
Is that because he can hear me and he can hear Hemi in my headphones? Oh, fun. Yeah. So very low I suspect very low volume just means that he's either picking up in my or Zero's microphone. So.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa!
That sounds good. That sounds great. Yeah, just there. That's great. I can hear you, but I don't think the chat can. But that's Grief says, wrong level. You are louder, but still not in the show. We can't hear you.
You guys start and then I'll.
Oh, bloody hell. Was it the ghost ship? The ghost ship. I don't know. I thought you were going to do the ghost ship. I don't want to do the ghost. I don't want to do the ghost.
You want to start with the masturbation?
Oh yeah, where's that? Where's she gone? Yeah. There's a story here called "Woman Spots Very X-Rated Detail." Oh no, God, what's that? That's not the dildo one, is it? What's that doing there? No, I've got the bum shining one now. I've lost the bloody link. Oh God.
Dear, what the fuck?
Oh, there we go. It would help if I unmuted myself as well. there we go. So I thought, well, whilst he is away, we can, at least Henny and I can do the show, but it helps if I unmute. I don't like the user interface in this program. It's confusing me. But, Brief says sorted. We can hear Hemi.
Oh right, am I back now? Am I? Oh yeah, that looks better. Oh, I think I might be deafening everybody, to be honest.
No, you sound alright.
No, it looks like in OBS it looks like I'm peaking.
Oh, fair enough.
I'll just I'll take a bit of the edge off here. Hold on a sec, and that's it. Am I sounding okay to you, lads?
Yeah, you sound alright.
Yeah, that alright.
Can I do the read on this story? I like.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right. So the first story we've got.
Right. So I'm loud. Context. If I turn that down to about there, that should be. Yeah, I'm not going into the red now. Okay. Yeah.
We are reading the fucking chat, you amateurs. Yes, we are reading. It's loud and it's buzzing, Hemi.
It's loud. Am I still buzzing?
You sound a bit quiet now to me now.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're distorted through the chat, but I'm hearing you just fine on Jitsi.
Yeah, it's OBS. I'm going a bit weird on. It should be okay. That's it. Right. So that's how I sound. Right, there we go. We've finished. We've finished the 3 hours. 3 hours of tech support. We can get on with the show now.
Oh, goody. So welcome to Fortean Top Words episode 16. And we're going to do werewolves. So I would like to start with the first story we've got in our stack, which is female masturbation can apparently open a portal to hell. What do you mean apparently it does? According to one Christian publisher, dildo enthusiasts are on a direct path to the demonic realm.
Dildo enthusiast? Is that a thing?
Dildo, yes, dildo enthusiast is a nice euphemism for wankers. It's on the direct path to the demonic realm. I really want to add some like of my own content in this, but I'll just read the story and then we can do that. But should we take his views more seriously? Since time immemorial, we've been told that wanking is bad. However, the last 50 years have seen the gradual emancipation of the per se for many women lucky enough to live in more liberal societies. Unfortunately, as we've started to talk more about female masturbation and orgasm in more open and positive ways, the backlash from Puritans, misogynists, and religious fanatics, or combinations of all three, has also become more apparent, particularly in the United States. One of this week's most extreme and bizarre attacks on female sexuality comes from Mac Major of Eden Decoded in Florida. The Christian author is adamant that female masturbation is basically leading civilization straight down the path to hell, and has published... So is he saying that Islam is right about women? The Christian author is adamant that, he's published an open letter condemning the act. Major believes getting yourself off quite literally summon the demon from hell's fiery pits. Masturbation is a direct path to Satan. I feel this story's just trading old ground again. There's nothing normal about it, whether you want to accept it as fact or not, though sex toys an open port to the demonic realm in your own life. Well, it's easy to laugh at this sort of chat and to pigeonhole this loser I'm surprised they didn't call him an incel. Is a religious crazy. The underlying message isn't humorous. We have to talk about the far more serious issues raised through the vitriol, which is focused primarily on women. Sure, most people don't actually think the word masturbating or see Satan rise up in spirit often.
Is this an article about an article? Is this...
Yeah, it really feels like, we're going to just... Wouldn't it just be better to read the open letter from Pastor Florida Decoded? Mac Major. Shall we? Okay, do you mind, chat? I'm going to do a bit of typing here. So I'm going to do open letter from Mac Major, comma Eden Decoded. And
dildos are icon worship, aren't they? Really, I think he's got a point. This guy, but
I've seen jade dildos, which for your chakras and all that, but. I wanted to say, if you do bum fun, it activates the second Kundalini point and awakens the snake.
I think they sell crystal dildos you put up your bum. I think it's popular with new age women. Yeah, that balances your chakras, doesn't it? Well, apparently,
isn't it Gwyneth Paltrow's site where you can buy the jade to stick up your chuff? You buy like
they got
stick up your chuff, don't you? Which they reckon is really bad for you.
They call them crystal wands, don't they? The chakra balance and dildo ones. Yeah.
About 3 years ago, I saw this website about jade dildos, and talking about the health benefits of it. And
I don't think there are any. I think it causes infections and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know if jade is semi-porous or not, but I imagine these are pretty like glass sex toys. They're just wiped clean or something, but. The point being is I liked all the thing that was talking about karma and things, the usual sort of selling points they do with crystal healing. And so I sent it as a message to Thomas Sheridan, and he blocked me after that. And his last message to me was "fecking hell." And I thought he was a pretty open-minded sort of guy, he was talking about paganism and like Puritans being a bit over the top. And so I guess he just didn't want to see jade sex toys. I thought it'd be, but this is the thing. All I could do, I'm trying to find Mac Major's open letter, and all I got is just like various sort of feminist blogs saying how awful he is. Shall we carry on reading the story then? There's not much. Okay, let's just go to the last paragraph. So yes, let's laugh at Major because it's ridiculous, but let's also remember the school of thought he hails from and recognise that it's just not one women-hating loon posting on a blog about women using dildos. Instead, this sort of religious fervour directed towards women stems from a far more powerful movement trying to control women's bodies as well as their sexuality in the name of religion.
I found the bit about it. It says with jade, with those jade eggs that Gwyneth Paltrow was flogging. It says nasty bacteria like the kind that cause toxic shock syndrome or bacterial vaginosis could get lodged in the nooks and crannies and then get reintroduced into the vagina every time the egg is used. So yeah, I thought it was pretty bad for you.
Dildos are satanic. They're blasphemous objects. I think they should be banned.
You put an object into your bum or your front hole and you don't clean it, you're going to get infected. So yeah, who'd have thunk? But I mean, do we want to talk about the story? Do you want to talk about the reaction of it, or do we want to talk about the premise of Mac Major's letter? Because I'm quite interested in what he's got to say, even though we can't read his letter. Because I'm looking on the internet for it, and I can't see anything. What if I just type in Eden Decoded? Does he have a website?
What's this got to do with dildos?
Werewolves.
Oh, you got. Are you going on to werewolves?
No. Oh, here we go. I found Eden Decoded. Oh, that's interesting. Articles there. Vibrators, dildos, and sex demons. Masturbation opens spiritual portals. I don't think he's wrong.
I agree with him. Yeah, I agree.
I think when you get people that say, "Oh, I have these weird and dark sexual fantasies when masturbating," it's like, yeah, where do you think those ideas come from?
I always think about like pornography, like filmed pornography, like someone makes a porn film, like all that energy's got to go somewhere, hasn't it? So,
Well, this is a point I was going to make last week. I was going to say, if 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 porn is satanic and they're doing satanic rituals by making porn films, then what happens when people copy the things going on in a porn film? Are they repeating that satanic ritual?
Oh, it's satanic. XXX, isn't it? That's the code for hardcore porn. That's 666, isn't it? X is the 24th letter. And
2 and 4
2
is
plus
6.
4 is 6. Yeah, it's code
so what's
for
the 6?
Satan, isn't it?
A, B, C, D, E, F, 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 F. It's not quite the same ring to it, is it?
Well, we said that on Greta Thunberg, because she had Fridays for Future, didn't she? That was FFF.
Oh,
yeah, that's her code, isn't it?
Yeah.
They love putting in these sort of weird hidden messages into all this stuff. So, you know what? I'm just going to, on the face of it, say that Mac Major is right, and these feminists screeching hysterically, and all the thing is they're insulting him. They're not actually talking about the premise of him. It's like, oh, let's be open-minded about this. And yeah, why is it that I have these visions of getting raped by a pack of diversities? Or being torn apart by wolves when masturbating. It's like, because these are normal things to, and that's the other thing as well. I for a week I was talking with a lesbian, of course, who studied sex therapy, and was saying all this stuff is normal and natural. I'm just like, yeah, but you're a lesbian, so what's your reference point there? And of course, when I was sort of saying, well, I object to this and I think it's wrong and I think there's paraphilia, oh boy, did she get angry with me when I said about paraphilia. And I said, well, what's wrong with calling it paraphilia? Why not just accept what it is? You're not reproducing. But yeah, this conversation didn't really go anywhere. So that's the first story. Do you guys want to add anything more to it?
I think
I just think...
weren't you going to say why it was blasphemous, Zero?
Well, back to F, like FFF. Where did that come from? FFF. That's
Fridays for Future.
Yeah. Well, F, the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, for which it corresponds to F, is in the shape of a nail, and that's why 6. What we were talking about a while back. That's when 6 appears. I think it's a code by a certain group of people for Satanist victory over Christ. Because the number 6 in their alphabet is in the shape of a nail, as in the nails that defeated Jesus, nailing him to the cross.
Well, also, did you know when you watch like films and that, and or even when you read true stories and people get woken up at 3:15 in the morning?
Yeah,
that's because apparently it's an inversion of the time that Christ was crucified.
Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah.
And 6 in the morning.
3:15 in the morning.
Oh.
And 6 times 6 is 36, and 36 plus 35 plus 34 down to plus 1 equals 666. And so yeah, 6 is definitely there. I'm sure it's everywhere in these codes they put in these media things.
Well, even 3:15, if you add up the digits of 1 and 5 and then times by 3, that's 3 6s, isn't it?
Yeah. No, a lot of paranormal happenings do occur between 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the witching. Is that the witching hour? Is it?
I think that's the real. Maybe it's the real witching hour. I don't know, or maybe the initiated witching hour.
A lot of spooky stuff happened to me when I was awake at that time.
Yeah. Aleister Crowley recommended waking up at that time and just like being like. He says he recommends waking up at like 3 a.m. and just sort of sitting there and just sort of being, sort of noticing things. And yeah, he probably meant having a wank as well, I should imagine. I don't know.
Masturbate with a dildo.
Yeah. There are times when I wake up because I need a wee and it's still 3 in the morning. I can't get back to sleep, so I'm on Twitter and stuff. So yeah, I guess so.
That's probably when they send the mind control frequencies out, at 3 a.m. when everyone's asleep or something.
Implying they ever turn them off.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Because I used to know a radio ham, like And he was saying that, like, like radio hams are like an international community. And he told me that this was back in the 90s. He said that every so often that there'll be these weird frequencies that come over shortwave radio in the lower sideband. And no one knows what they mean, because these like radio hams, they're very I love them, but they're nerdy people. They know every single frequency. And they say that every so often, frequencies come up, but they've got no idea what they are.
I've been considering getting into ham radio because
it's fascinating.
Well, the internet's getting increasingly diversified, and ham radio, because of the technological barrier, is exclusively a domain of white men, who are usually autistic white men.
Well, we're going to do it. Do you know what number stations are, Hobbit? We're going to do an episode on that. I've just downloaded a load of number stations, so we'll try, and once I've got audio sorted, I shall we'll do some interactive stuff. Play some.
You have to learn Morse code. You got to pass a test to get your radio license, so you have to learn Morse code.
No, that's no longer a requirement for entry. You don't have to do that. My uncle did ham radio back in the 80s, so he does know Morse code. But he said I don't have to do it.
So they're even dumbing down ham radio then? Even dropping the standards for ham radio now?
But he knows Morse code these days, really,
It seems a bit strange because they're saying, you just get a computer to do it, and then the computer can decode it for you. And it's like, yeah, but that's not the point. You're supposed to know this stuff, so if you hear it, you can actually decode it in your mind or write it down.
Mm. Morse code's very good because you can transmit it all the way over the world. Really, you get a really clear signal with Morse.
Actually, speaking of Morse code, did you want to do a spooky ship story? How's that for a segue?
Go on, then. I love scary ships.
I found a story about the SS Orang Medan. Hold on a sec. I'll just pop this up on the screen. The SS Orang Medan. I found this on Ripley's on www.ripleys.com. So, the seemingly impossible event is said to have taken place in the 1940s. The precise year tends to vary from source to source. According to the story, the SS Orang Medan, a Dutch vessel, was passing through the Strait of Malacca when it ran afoul of a mysterious tragedy. Nearby ships reported receiving a horrifying distress call. All officers, including captain, dead, lying in a chart room, and on bridge, probably whole crew dead, it stated. Then there was an unintelligible frenzy of Morse code, and the radio operator had the final word, "I die."
Fuck it hell.
Rescuers who boarded the vessel, it said, found the stricken ship just as described. The crew was indeed dead, their bodies strewn across the decks. Not only that, but they were found teeth bared with their upturned faces to the sun as if in fear. Even the ship's dog was dead, frozen in this ghastly state, mid-growl at an assailant or horror unknown. It's just the start of the mystery of the Orang Medan. I've never heard this one. I mean, for some, so...
They encounter the terror from the deep, and it sounds like they buried the story because they don't want people to get nightmares and say that Lovecraft was real.
Yeah. They probably met Cthulhu or something, didn't they? Yeah.
Reports go on to suggest that shortly after the ship was boarded, a fire broke out. Oh, here we go. It's always the fire in the fucking ship, isn't it? And everybody jumps off, isn't it? That's... fire broke out in its bowels, forcing those who had arrived to this grisly tableau to evacuate. Shortly after they did, the ship exploded with such force that it lifted out of the ocean before quickly sinking without a trace. Ooh, fucking hell. Naturally leaves us with not one but two incredible mysteries to ponder. What caused the mass demise of the Orang Medan's crew, and what caused the subsequent explosion? We're getting ahead of ourselves, though, because there's one more thing to consider. Officially, the ship may never have existed.
Ooh.
The famous story leads to all kinds of dead ends. Most notably, there's no mention of the SS Orang Medan's registration in Lloyd's shipping registers, nor has any official recording of the bizarre incident on board ever been discovered. The reason the precise date of the event has been so difficult to pinpoint is that newspaper reports tell various versions of the story across a period of time, each adding and embellishing details along the way. Nevertheless, believers swear this impossible, fantastical tale is absolutely true.
It's got to have happened.
some say that it wasn't, that the registry wasn't found because it's actually registered in Sumatra.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That not all ships are registered with Lloyd's. Like they're registered
the vessels,
in dodgy things.
The vessel's name translates from man to Medan. That's what orang, isn't it? It's orangutan means. Does it mean man of the forest or something? Doesn't it?
I thought it meant orange man.
No, it means man from something, forest, jungle, something like that.
Oh yeah, if it was orange man, it'd
man from the jungle. Well, orangutan means man from the jungle.
Or something like that, man from the forest or something like that.
That's weird.
Theodor Seesdorfer, a German researcher who's been poring over the fascinating case for around half a century, discovered an old German publication from 1953 called Das Totenschiff in der Südsee, or The Death Ship in the South Seas. This little booklet, courtesy of a now deceased scholar Otto Michele, is believed by some to offer evidence the ship was real, as was its tragic fate. It offers an intriguing possibility as to the cause of the explosion that sent the Orang Medan to the depths. What really? What do you want the funny bit? What really happened? Pirate attack? Because dogs die in fright during a fucking pirate attack, don't they?
Oh wait, I know what really happened. It was a weather balloon.
Be like the Mary Celeste, isn't it? It's like people thought the ship was on fire, but it really wasn't, and they jumped off for no reason.
There was a ship not... Go on a bit.
I was going to say, have you ever seen a weather balloon, or what they're supposed to do, or a launching of one, or a documentary about, this is a weather balloon, this is what weather balloons do? I think weather balloons are actually a conspiracy theory. There are no weather balloons.
I used to hear that conspiracy theory about electricity pylons, where like you never see anyone working on them. But I was walking into town one day, and I did see blokes working on them, but I don't know. But about ships, I was reading the other day that a ship was taken over by some foreign people off the shore of Britain, and they sent the SAS in to deal with it. I think it was a few years ago. But I was
the SBS.
Yeah, or the SBS. But I was thinking, like, well, why the hell would they send the SBS in? And if they can do that, why are they letting all these other people come here on inflatable boats? Why don't they send the SAS in for them? But what was on this boat that was so important that they had to send the SBS in? You know,
you do wonder, don't you? I mean, as we were talking about like bullshit explanations for stuff, the other one's ball lightning, isn't it? It's like who's I mean, is there even like a video of ball lightning on YouTube or anything like that? I wonder.
They say it follows you around, doesn't it? Like as if it's intelligent. But I mean, I don't know. But
I mean, ball lightning
I saw a glowfly one.
Ball lightning sounds like. Oh, sorry. Go on after you.
Go on. I was just going to say, I saw a glowfly once. That was pretty strange. Like an actual, like luminescent glowing fly, but that wasn't ball lightning.
To be honest, I think they say like your mind's like first idea is to go straight for something supernatural. I think your mind's first port of call is to try and find a rational explanation for whatever you're looking at.
I mean, I'm a weirdo, but I don't go straight to the paranormal explanation because it usually isn't. It's usually very normal sort of stuff. Like, people get freaked out because there's sort of knocks on the walls and that. It's just a house kind of settling at night, when it expands and contracts, People...
And it's definitely not brownies moving around.
Well, I don't know. I did live in a haunted house, but yeah, actually... We did used to see like red and blue glowing balls, but they weren't ball lightning because there was no lightning outside or anything. But
considering how old this house is where I live, I wouldn't be surprised if it's haunted. But I wouldn't know.
I think ghosts are generally all right. They're just doing their thing. I think I don't think people should blunder in and sort of exercise them. I think just leave them alone. They're just doing their thing.
Well, you only do that if they're malicious.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think some people do, even if they're just kind of wandering about. They're kind of like, I don't know, I suppose they're like spiders, aren't they?
I don't know, it's just...
You just need a psychic way of putting a glass on them and throwing them out the front door, don't you?
That's it.
I reckon leave them alone. Leave them alone. They're not doing any harm.
How is your spider after his bath in piss the other week? Is it your spider, Zero, was it?
Yeah. No, he was all right. Yeah, I hadn't seen him for a while. He survived me pissing on him. Yeah. God, that was so like nightmarishly surreal. That. Oh God. Yeah.
Right, so we've done the warm open for half an hour. Shall we crack on with some werewolf lore?
If I can like bluff while I find my notes, yeah. Werewolves. Well, when it comes to werewolves, I mean, bloody hell, werewolves. You know, it's easy to dismiss it, isn't it? It's easy to dismiss the existence of werewolves when we're sitting comfortably under electric lights in our sort of centrally heated abode. But just cast yourself out into a sort of nocturnal rural setting. And,
speak for yourself, Mister. I've got central heating. I live in a total bench.
Hobbit lives in a Dickens novel, didn't you know? Didn't you know, Zero?
That sounds great.
Every day I have to load in the coal and dig out the ashes and say, please, sir, may I have some more? In fact, the fire's a bit cold, so I'm trying to get through some pistachios very quickly because the shells burn quite well.
Do you roast chestnuts? No, I used to do that.
Only when he stands too close.
Funny enough, you know the Austrians have got a Christmas market. They do roast chestnuts over there, so I had some there. Quite nice.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I think they're good. Yeah, great. Yeah.
And then the month before that, when I was in France, they was like, "Hey, do you want some roast chestnuts?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." No, good too.
Hobbit's back, everybody.
Hello.
There's nothing.
You're welcome to Fortean Foods, the paranormal food discussion show.
Goulash.
You can't beat potatoes wrapped in silver foil.
Zero, you just marched all over Hemi's joke there. He said goulash.
Spooketti.
I'm partial to a bit of poltergeist.
You wouldn't want that chicken down in John Frost Square, would you? Is it John Pond Square? Is it Pond Street?
Pond Square, yeah.
Pond Square, that was it, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. Before we go into the thing of werewolves, right? Ghost walks into a bar. Barman, sorry, we don't serve spirits.
Quasimodo walks into a bar. Barman says to him, he says, no, he says to the barman, he says, can I have a whiskey? Barman says, bell's all right. He says, mind your own fucking business.
You're going to repeat that,
You cut out the punchline.
Oh, fuck, it's saying no data.
No data?
Yeah, I think the... oh, no, we're back.
Well, just no data.
I think we just had a drop.
Has your internet ration run out?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Are you going to have to write a first-class letter to Her Majesty's government for a bit more internet ration?
I'm moving soon anyway, so hopefully the internet's better there. Quasimodo walks into a bar, but says, "Can I have a whiskey?" Barman says, says bell's all right. He says, "Mind your own business."
I don't know any jokes. I feel left out now.
Oh dear. I think we ought to get on with this werewolf episode. We've wasted enough time now.
I don't know. I think have we gone beyond werewolves? I don't know. But, werewolves. Shall we have like a minute's silence to sort of?
Well, you have got a joke, Zero, haven't you?
Oh, I can't do that. Now everyone knows it, but I can't. You do it. I can't.
What is this joke?
You know, the werewolf joke.
Well, the thing is, No,
What's the werewolf joke?
I actually used to be a werewolf, but I'm all right now. I thought everyone knew that. But,
Oh dear.
I'm too pissed to do this werewolf show. I think I can't. I don't
That's
know.
okay. I'm sort of like half cut. Today I'm fueled with pistachios and cider.
I've had 2 bottles of Jennings Cumberland Deep Gold Ale. So that's not too bad.
That sounds
I
quite
just hit
nice.
the vodka.
4%.
I used to drink ale, but I think like if you're going to get pissed, just go for the spirits. You know, hit the vodka. I think if you want to get pissed, like because vodka's good, because vodka's medicinal, so that's like a good excuse, isn't it? It's like I'm not getting pissed. It's like a medicinal thing that cures my cold.
But in
And
that
it's like,
case,
you know,
I'd rather have Chartreuse because like it's got all the herbs and spices in it that you could want for any sort of. Like,
Chartreuse. Yeah, I ain't had that
So-
for years. Yeah.
If ever I'm sick or like got a fever, I have some of that. It makes the fever worse for one night, but then it's gone. And if I was ever going to be like struck with a case of lycanthropy, I would have some Chartreuse to cure
Yeah.
myself.
God.
See, I could
See,
even make piss talk related to
He's
werewolves.
got us back on track. Come on, you can do this, Zero.
So werewolves, where did they come from? What's your take on that?
I think werewolves are real. I believe I like when people sort of come talk about weird shit. I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. Like I'll believe it. You know, I'll believe anything until it's proved otherwise.
I've got a theory about werewolves.
Go on, him.
So, you know, humans domesticated wolves. And when I say humans, I mean Europeans, because we seem to be the only ones interested in domesticating animals.
Yeah.
So, you got wolves and you got humans, and they form an alliance together, and you get dogs from it, which is good. But what if something happened? And I say, well, if something happened, I'm saying, like, you know, there's centaurs which exist at some point, and giants and all other mythical creatures. What if werewolves is some sort of fusion between wolf and man?
Actual physical sex between man and a wolf, kind of thing. Or...
I mean, maybe, but maybe there's something a bit more mystical in it because I think if, like, you know, you like have sex with a wolf, nothing happens. Well, apart from you've had sex with an animal, but I mean, I think there's been some sort of union there, and so you've ended up with this creature which is a combination of the two. So I'm interested in. What am I interested? There's a point to this, but I haven't quite formed it yet. I'm hoping you guys can.
I must confess, the very few bestiality videos I've actually seen did strike me as like extremely satanic, like actually like in the proper sense of the term, as unholy and very like evil is the only word I can think about it. And if someone has sex with a wolf, there's not going to be a physical offspring, but maybe there's an offspring on another level, on another level.
Tying into that story we read earlier, where the feminists were just screeching about what an idiot Mac Major is. If you're having sex with an animal like that, there's definitely something has happened and changes the spirit. So you know you're not going to be the same after that. And you know how some women say they know, like, if a woman's been with a black man, they can just tell. They've got an intuitive sense. Women can also tell if, like, a woman's a dog fucker.
Oh, yeah.
Usually they make it really easy by having, like, a tramp stamp tattoo with pit bulls and you know, fuck me daddy on the tramp stamp. But sometimes the signs are more subtle.
Every time I see a bloke with a pit bull, I think, like, is that some sort of secret code for, like, I have a very small penis or something? Or I don't know.
Or
That's the dog version of a Ferrari. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I don't know. But I don't know. Werewolves. You got these cavemen pictures. Oh, fuck it hell! I'm too pissed. I can't get words out. Bloody hell. Back in prehistory, you got these like depictions of horned men in animal skins on the cave walls. So
satyrs.
Something was going on back then. I think.
No, satyrs are half goat. I bet.
If they were shagging an animal, but would your average caveman shag a wolf though? That would be bit of a no-no, wouldn't it?
But wouldn't that have been more like they'd wear the wolf skin to take on the characteristics of the wolf?
Yeah.
Because didn't you have when the berserkers a Viking thing, weren't they? They used to wear animal skins, didn't they?
I thought they would just go in naked.
Yeah, they're going naked with no armor or shield, didn't they?
Do you want to fight a naked bloke? I wonder if there's something like when they take on the spirit of these animals, they really take on the spirit of these animals to the point that they become them.
The berserkers were supposed to strike fear in their enemies, maybe in some sort of telepathic way or something, because they were hardcore. I mean, fucking hell.
Yeah,
but that was like the ultimate form of like the magic of intention, wasn't it? Literally being invincible.
Going into battle with no shield and no armor, and just like with a few animal skins, and just like they apparently spoke in a sort of weird, like animal-like language as well, if we believe these ancient reports.
I think as well as the sort of subtle telepathic ways they'd have to demoralise the enemy, the fact that you've just seen a load of your mates being slaughtered by this guy who's stark bollock naked, and like reaching into their face to bite out their tongues and smearing blood over himself. That, is a sort of more exoteric way of freaking someone out.
That's what they taught in the army, You go for like the biggest bloke and like rip his tongue out, and that sort of like cools out all his subordinates, sort of thing, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You look for the hardest bloke and you beat him, and then the others fall into line. OG Snake Eyes in the chat, he says they use this, referring to berserkers, they use skins for warmth, and he says the naked ones were the Celts. He's right, but I'm sure there's other people who thought having a fight whilst naked is a good idea. I've seen lots of diversities. They like going on various drugs and then running around naked, chasing police and getting shot multiple times before finally falling down.
So I've done the Viking. Dissident has mentioned in chat Romulus and Remus, and they were raised by wolves, weren't they, and created Rome?
Yeah,
founders of Rome. Yeah, that's a weird one. Yeah,
we had Brutus of Troy, and the Romans had Romulus and Remus.
Because the Bible speaks of men with hairy hands, doesn't it? In Genesis 27:23, and that's quite strange. I don't know whether they mean hairy palms. That's that sort of jokey sort of thing. If you got hairy palms, you're a werewolf. That just is.
I thought if you had hairy palms, it meant you were partaking in too much onanism.
Yeah, excessive onanism. No, Genesis 27:23, it mentions hairy hands. I don't know if that's a mistranslation, but it definitely mentions men having hairy hands.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And the Babylonian god.
The other thing in Genesis is the fact that when Cain and Abel, because Cain killed Abel, I think it was.
Yeah.
But then Cain was cast out, and he was cast out into a city. It was like, I thought these were supposed to be the only humans, and here's a city full of humans, because Cain reproduced with these humans and then made more children. So, because otherwise the implication is that, Cain and Abel didn't have a wife, so they shagged their mum. And that's not true. So, other humans did exist, or creatures that were compatible with humans. So it could be an analogy to sort of say, there's like various hominid species, but hominid species with cities. So, that to me sounds like what we'd recognise as a modern human.
I think the reality / possibility lines were certainly looser back then, because the Babylonian king, I can't say his name, was it Nebuchadnezzar? He apparently he either turned into a wolf or became a beast of the field. Like God turned him into a beast of the field where he's eating grass and that. Like that's mentioned in Daniel 4:3.
So he's been struck down with veganism.
Or
Well,
vegan lycanthropy or something weird.
so
He was a weird cow.
All these crazy old historians, they're all talking about people turning into wolves. Like Ovid mentions it, and Petronius mentions it, and they're all talking about blokes turning into wolves. You know,
I don't know if you want to save this for another night, but I mean, maybe we could briefly touch on the subject of chimerism and how chimerism is an absolute abomination according to the Bible. And I would say it's an abomination just according to the fact that, oh yeah, you know, here's a jellyfish that's got 1% cockroach genes. Why did you do that? Because we could.
Yeah.
Or you know, here's a cat, and we put some jellyfish genes in the cat. Now the cat glows in the dark. Why? Why? Because China ain't number one. We do genetics now. You know about glowing in the dark monkeys and cats and stuff like that. They're not really monkeys and cats because they are no longer 100% monkey or cat. They're like 1% jellyfish or 1% whatever else they've introduced to them. And here's an interesting thing, right? You know, human cloning is illegal, and doing experiments on like cloning stuff, it's illegal in pretty much all of the world. Even China says human cloning is illegal. Well, a chimera is not a human. So if you have a human and you put, like, say, 1% bovine or ovine DNA in there, they're both mammals. Functionally, it's a human, but it's got no legal rights, and you can vivisect it to your heart's content, and no one can say anything about it. And I reckon the new vivisection labs in Oxford, the ones the animal protests are up in arms about, I don't think they're doing animal vivisection anymore. I think they're doing chimera experiments.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that was that. They tried introducing this to us a long time ago. Do you remember the what was that film called about the boy called, was it the boy called Gore or something? Who was like half gorilla. Do anybody remember that one?
What? Well, like a fictional film or a
yeah, it was a fictional film. There's also a TV miniseries called Chimera as well, which is about a similar sort of thing.
Hemi, before we talk about this fascinating subject of chimerism, Grief has pointed out in the chat that there's 113, no, there's 11 of us watching. 9 people have clicked like, which means 2 people watching this stream have not clicked like. In which case, why are you watching the stream if you haven't clicked like? Hemi, is it you?
Yeah,
Do you
it's
not
me.
click like on your own stream?
No. I think
are you saying to people?
I think it's prideful.
What? You're saying to people that are, you know, I'm doing the effort of this thing, but I don't think it's good enough to click like on. So you're basically telling your audience you don't think it's good enough for you to click like. It's beneath you to click like on this content which we're producing for our own purposes.
Well, I would say I'm justified because we said we're talking about werewolves, but we're actually talking about chimeras.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anybody who doesn't click like because it's not what's advertised.
These so-called scientists, so-called scientists, they're not fucking scientists. They're witches and Satanists. It's like
the people. Just one more derail. Although it is related to werewolves. Has anybody ever seen the old VHS film Project Metal Beast? Where they get a werewolf, and genetically armor plate it, and they have to, and at the end they have to kill it with a silver tip bazooka.
No, but I really want to watch this now.
I've got it. Good. I'll stick it on my Google Drive and send it to you because I don't think you can even buy it on DVD. It's that bad.
That sounds really awesome. Why do they not make films like this anymore?
But what they're doing in these labs is just like the modern day version of what they were doing back in the medieval times. Because the medieval French Inquisitor, here I go with my university lecturer head on, Henry Boget and Pierre Delancre, they both claimed in separate books that witches transform themselves into werewolves at their Sabbaths. So nowadays they just do it in bloody laboratories, don't they? You know, it's the same thing. But
But do you think? While we're talking about the Bible and stuff, do you think the Bible has predicted all this stuff because it's not the first time round?
Yeah. It seems like what's happening now is just the modern version of what happened back then in the Bible times, doesn't it?
Mm.
Well, I was trying to get onto this subject with my friends the other day, and I was going on about the differences between, and this is related to what we're talking about, by the way. There's three main civilizations in this world. There are Europeans, Chinese, and Indians. And the reason I say there's three main civilizations is, you look at it, right? The Indians are the most spiritual people. And my friend was getting all emotional, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, but you know, you're a wrong caste and blah blah blah." It's like, yeah, I'm saying they're spiritual. I'm not saying they're moral or compassionate, or that they don't stink like shit or curry. So they are so spiritual, but they have physically sort of gone. What's the word I'm looking for? Atrophied, because you know they got like 1 billion people in that country, and not a single Olympic gold medalist between them, because they're so weak. And you look at the Chinese, most materialistic people in the world, even their spirituality, like the Shaolin monks, all of that is a mastery of the material realm. And you've got Europeans, and Europeans are the magical ones, because Europeans they're not the most materialistic, they're not the most spiritual, they can balance the two of them. And occasionally when that goes wrong, then we get things like the atomic bomb, or we get the fall of Atlantis. And I suspect that we had this high technology before. Chimeras, satyrs, werewolves, centaurs, all those sort of strange creatures were probably things that escaped the genetic labs in Atlantis prior to its sinking.
Yeah. I mean, the enlightened being...
And then maybe they were sterile and that's why they don't exist now. Is that what... to finish that thought off?
Possibly. Or maybe, you know, they raped humans and then they used the humans to make their vectors. I don't know how a chimera reproduces, if it does produce.
And back to the racial thing, like an enlightened being doesn't shit in the street, does he? Like, you know, to be blunt about it, you know. I mean,
well, I mean, they say you should like shit in a field or something, but if you're living in massive cities,
well, back to your thought, Hobbit. We've spoken about this before, where a Western man can, you know, be a scientist at work and then step into a church and immediately be at one with spirituality. There's no need to sit on your head for 3 days and put your leg behind the back of your neck, is there? We can just access spirituality, can't we?
Yeah, and there's no need to die at work because you're working like 18-hour shifts in a factory.
And yoga spelt backwards is a-goy as well. That's a bit suspicious. I don't know.
Do you think yoga's satanic?
Yes.
I just think, why bother, really? You know, it's like, I like Yuji Krishnamurti. He's very criticising of yoga and that. He's saying, like, we already are like perfectly balanced and happy. Like, why try to mess with it by sitting in like really awkward, uncomfortable positions to try and... We already are like in a state of grace if we just accept it and stop.
I suppose like yoga, if you want to be simplistic about it, is stretching. And it's good to do a bit of stretching, perhaps doing real proper exercise.
Do you think it could be because the middle classes are so soulless? That's why they have to do things like yoga to try and...
Well, it keeps people docile, doesn't it? If you've got like 1 million Indians sitting there contemplating their navels, that's a very good control system, isn't it? If you've got a couple of like British-backed gurus telling them to do this and that, it keeps the peace, doesn't it? You know?
I think it's also another thing where, for whatever reason, middle-class man sees themselves as inauthentic. So they go on around the world searching for a spirituality substitute, like ayahuasca in the Amazon. Or, you know, they'll go to a guru meditation retreat in the Himalayas. And yet, in their own doorstep, they don't realise, it's like, have you ever been to a cathedral? If you're not under spiritual experience there, well, they're just a dusty old tomb.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's just... Well, that's what's put inside their minds, isn't it? It's that whole hippie CIA-backed mind control, isn't it? You got to bloody go to India and like don't be satisfied with your own heritage. Go to bloody India and bloody sit at the feet of the guru who's probably going to rape your bloody wife.
because
You know.
you really have spiritual enlightenment whilst you've got amoebic dysentery.
Yeah,
People
right.
just shit into the.
There's cows wandering through. You bloody whatnots.
Oh yeah, I found real spiritual enlightenment whilst I attended the holy Hindu celebration of smearing cow shit. over
Yeah,
one another.
well, looking at a cow's ass. Yeah, I was enlightened.
Or worshipping the local toilet.
Yeah, the toilet shrine.
Oh dear, we're getting further and further away from werewolves, aren't we?
Well, I'll quickly get in. Like Montague Summers, one of my favourite like erudite writers, who was an actual reverend in the that Catholic church that isn't the Catholic church but is, which I can't remember. What's it called? That I can't think of it. But anyway, the Gnostic, the Wandering Bishop Church is called something. I can't quite think of it. But
Is that the one that is that the one that Sean Bishop's a bishop of?
yeah. And Peter Lavender, who wrote the Necronomicon, he was a member of it as well. Yeah.
Can't think.
I thought that was H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, well, it's all sort of connected with it, isn't it? Like, it's just very strange. That was connected with the JFK assassination, strangely enough, as well. There was lots of those bishops sort of around that sort of thing as well. But very odd. But he says that the oldest extant book in the Irish language, the Book of the Dun Cow, which was compiled around 1100 AD.
A lot of pubs called the Dun Cow, isn't there?
Is there really? Huh.
Yeah. I've been to loads, about 3 or 4 pubs called the Dun Cow. There's one in Rugby, and there used to be one in Wellingborough as well.
That's interesting.
What's the Dun Cow?
I've no idea actually.
You keep talking. I'll try and
Well,
find out
anyway,
what the Dun Cow is.
this book apparently states that the Druids practiced the magic art of shape-shifting, and Summers adds another quote concerning an interesting passage which is actually, quote, the learning of Gentilism, which enabled the Druids to shift into any shape. And what the hell does he mean by the learning of Gentilism? Is that some sort of cross-fertilization between like the peasants and the sort of gentleman university-educated people?
I find that interesting that the so-called shape-shifting ability is called Gentilism.
Yeah.
Considering we know a certain tribe that likes to do a lot of shape-shifting and start a load of shitty posts with my fellow whites.
It's kind of odd, isn't it? But I'm not sure whether that has got like an alternative, because the fairies were called the gentry, weren't they? But gentry isn't Gentile, is it? I don't think it's connected to that.
Yeah, well, I'd have to look up what the definition of the word Gentile is. I assumed it was a euphemism for Goyim, but
yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
In which case, where did the word Gentile come from?
That's apparently what this Book of the Dun Cow, written in 1100 AD, says. That the Druids practiced the magical art of shape. Oh no, actually, that's a different book. He adds it on. It's a book called Irish Text.
Dun means brown, apparently in Gaelic.
Oh, the brown cow.
Yeah.
There we go. Brown cow.
There's that poem, isn't there? How now, brown cow.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah. It's one of those speech things, isn't it?
Back in my
deportment. Is it deportment?
Alliteration.
Yeah.
Here we go again. But back in my dope smoking day,
when I was stoned,
I was at.
So back on Tuesday,
I was at this blues party.
Sorry.
You know blues parties when like lots of Rastafarians get together and they all get council houses, but one of them gets a council house and they move out into their mate's house. So there's like an empty council house, and they used to use them for like blues parties, which are basically dope smoking reggae parties, which I have to confess were rather good, some of them. But
smoking
I was
a bit
there.
Of jazz cabbage.
Well, the old ganja, yeah, but which I don't do anymore. I haven't done anything like that for over 20 years, by the way. But back then, I overheard this Rastafarian talking of this island in Dominica that was colonized by the Spanish and the British and that, and back in the 18th century. And apparently on this island of the Caribbean island of Dominica, there's this tradition that some of the elite class of these British invaders were like sorcerers who were apparently seen to sort of shapeshift into various sort of creatures and then sort of like bite and suck the blood of black people on the islands. I don't know.
That sounds like that sounds like another one of those urban like,
the missing penis sort of
thing. It sounds like one of those, doesn't it?
Here's a thought. So it's a common trope, and the trope must come from somewhere that only silver weapons can defeat a werewolf, right? And I've been thinking about this. Silver, especially if it's a colloidal silver, or even just silver on its own, is it's an antiseptic. It's a broad spectrum antiseptic. Kills fungus, virus, and bacteria. So if you've got silver cutlery, they'll always be clean. Same with any copper-containing cutlery as well. And yet copper's not mentioned, is it? Well, if the lycanthropy, as they call it, what if that's some sort of like disease which infects people that are susceptible to it, and therefore when you use silver on them, it kills them because it kills the disease? Because surely if it's
silver spoon in the mouth, isn't it? Born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Yeah, they used to put silver spoons in babies' mouths, didn't they? Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's also the other part. The other part of this is with vampires, which I'm sure we'll do at some point. Mirrors used to be silver backed, didn't they? Before they used whatever chemical they use now. So vampires couldn't be seen in mirrors. I always wondered whether that was because mirrors used to be silver backed.
I wonder. Maybe
only posh people could have them. Only posh people could have mirrors, couldn't they? Because they were really expensive.
Yeah, there would have been.
Well, yeah, because you had to get a flat piece of silver and you'd have to polish it in order for it to be a mirror finish. Whereas modern mirrors, in fact, they're still silver or some are aluminium, but you get a plain mirror, you put silver nitrate on it, and you end up with like a micron thick layer of silver on the glass, and that's what you see. I do wonder about that, and actually, I wonder. In regards to werewolves being susceptible to silver, if it is some sort of infection, because to me, the process, it sounds painful. It's described as painful.
Well, lycanthropy is a recognised mental disease. I don't know if it's caused by some sort of virus or something.
Well, you showed me that video, didn't you, of what's his name?
Bill Ramsey, yeah.
Yeah, did that turn out to be true? I didn't watch the end of it when they discussed it and said whether it was true or not.
I think that's up in the air, I think he certainly looked like a bloody werewolf to me. I mean, he looks, you wouldn't want to leave your kids with him babysitting, would you? I mean, he looks like a friggin' werewolf, doesn't he? Or a sort of ne'er-do-well, at least, doesn't he? There's congenital porphyria, isn't it? When people grow excessive hair and have very, very bright eyes and reddish brown teeth. And that may be something like that. That might be caused by some sort of virus. I mean, I don't know what causes these things. Like, you know, those people in those books of freaks where they all got like hairy faces and like dog-like faces. I mean,
yeah, the dog boy was a regular in the freak show, wasn't he?
Well, this is why I'm starting to wonder when you're saying like vampires don't have a reflection in the mirror, and if it's a silver mirror, there must be something to silver that's more than just the sort of exoteric. Oh yeah, it's antiseptic. Yeah. There's something about it which is
like I don't know unless these myths come about because they're just like kind of tales to help you remember what to use for what. It could.
Oslin of Albion says silver is also linked to the moon, also called moon metal. Yeah.
It's like garlic's antiseptic, isn't it? And vampires don't like garlic, and I read somewhere that World War One soldiers used to dip the tips of their bullets in garlic, because apparently if garlic's all right so long as it doesn't get into your bloodstream, but if it gets into your bloodstream, it turns into a poison, sort of. But
I wouldn't know about that. I mean, the thing is with the bullets, the main thing you've got to worry about is the mud which gets into the wounds. That's where you get the infections from.
Yeah, that'd be pretty nasty. Yeah.
Here's the thing. So, Austin of Albion. Oh yeah, I've already mentioned that bit. Some people like to compare vampires to a certain long-nosed tribe, but I can tell you now, they don't have any aversion to garlic. They do have an aversion to mint. Do you know how I know this?
Go on.
This was some original research done by a YouTube channel called. Am I allowed to promote other YouTube channels, or is this verboten?
Well, as long as you don't encourage people to go and watch it right now.
Okay, guys, don't watch it right now, but after the show you can watch it because he streams 24 hours a day. It's called Lolly Socks, and he's done a stream a few weeks ago where he was looking up ice cream flavors in Israel, and mint is not available. It seems like mint is just not sold there for whatever reason. And they obviously don't make a show of it like saying mint is illegal in Israel. It's just like no one in Israel wants mint for some reason. So there you go.
They don't like mint.
No, they don't. So you keep sprigs of mint around you to keep annoying people at bay.
Mint's quite a white European sort of condiment, isn't it? Really.
Mint's great.
We love mint, didn't we? Oh, mint's great. Yeah, it's amazing.
Love a mint sauce.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, I'm a vegetarian, but yeah, I can appreciate it. Yeah. I put mint sauce on my cheese on toast and that.
Okay, I could see that. I 2 days ago, I was having a mint and pomegranate smoothie, and that was quite nice.
I think condiments are better than the actual food.
Oh, if you ever plug for our sponsor Subway, but I went for a Subway and they do the Lipton iced tea. They do one of those. They do a mint and something, one of those. That was really nice.
I thought we were going to get Power Tools as our sponsor.
Where did we
was it going to be mattresses?
I think we're just a bit too off the reservation for Bosch.
Cool, I could do with some Bosch stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get a sponsorship from Matika then.
Makita.
Hey, so if ever you guys are looking for a good angle grinder or a miter saw, I can recommend Makita tools. They've never let me down. They've got an interchangeable 18-volt battery pack. You can use it with all sorts of different tools, and they're really great. I mean, one battery does 100 different jobs, so Makita tools is the way to go.
Yeah, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Makita, for giving us £50,000 each for that advert.
Yeah, and great company. Great company.
Yeah.
Good lads.
And I want to say we're doing a competition now, so if you can mention, we got a competition, right? So one is that not vampires, we're doing werewolves today.
Yeah. What
is it that werewolves are vulnerable to? Is it A, garlic, B, silver, or C, the Makita 18-volt high-speed steel drill bit hammer system?
Silver tipped. Silver tipped.
Oh, we already mentioned silver. So
yeah, distant thoughts. What's the promo code, Hobbit?
So what you do is you put your answers on the postcard and you send it to Makita Power Tools UK Limited, saying I was listening to Fortean words. I always have to make sure to get the show title correct.
You keep calling it time 14 times, don't you?
And what you do is you do it, and the lucky winner will be drawn from a hat, and you could win yourself a brand new Makita hammer drill with the 18-volt lithium-ion battery system. I assume it's 18 volts. Could be 12 volts, but I know another power tool company which we're not sponsored by uses an 18-volt system. So yeah,
I quite like the 10.8 because they're perfect for my work.
Oh yeah. So But answers on a postcard, and the lucky contestants will be drawn on the 27th of the 12th month of 2019. All contestants must be over 18 years of age, must reside
And
within the Republic of Ireland.
Must be over the age of 88 and accompanied by a parent.
Yeah, and you must reside within the Republic of Ireland or the United Kingdom. Only one entry per applicant. So there you go. Back to the show.
While we're on the subject of websites, you're not allowed to look at right now. There's a woman called Deborah Hatswell who runs the British Bigfoot Research Group, the BBR, and she's pretty good. She's making a map, or she's made a map of all the UK sightings of werewolves and dogmen and that. So if you want to look in, you're not allowed to look at it now, but look at it after the show if you want to sort of go hunting for werewolves, which I don't recommend.
Unless you're watching a replay, then you can just pause it and go elsewhere.
What about this mysterious werewolf killed in Montana?
Oh, yeah.
Have you got the image for that?
Should we talk about that when I can stick that up? Yeah, I'll put it up. Is that an image or a video?
There's an image. No, it's a still image.
I don't know. That looks a bit special effects warehouse to me.
I don't know. I was quite excited.
What do you think, Hobbit?
I can't see it. It's not there. Oh,
it should be shown on the stream.
I think you should refer to me when my microphone's muted because I was trying to be quiet. I'm making a lot of noise at the moment.
All right, yeah.
With your brand new Makita power drill.
What do you think of this then, chat? That looks like a werewolf to me. Fucking hell, that's a werewolf, man.
It's fucking big, I'll tell you that much.
They don't know what it is at the moment. That probably is like a weird wolf sort of mutant, but because I suppose if it's a werewolf, that'd turn back into a bloke, wouldn't it? When you shoot them, I suppose.
Yeah, because I remember reading. It's an old story, isn't it, where the hunter was out hunting, came across a wolf and chopped its paw off. So he followed the blood trail to finish it off, and he followed it back to like the local witch's hut, and she had an arm missing.
That's why I think werewolves are some sort of like astral being. Because I'm not an expert, but if I was out in my astral body in the shape of a wolf and someone cut my paw off, would that sort of injure my physical body, like laying in my bed, sort of thing? And maybe that's where this comes from. I'm not sure. I don't think that'd be too good, would it? If you're like if I was a werewolf running around in my sort of astral body, which does happen. I've seen people in their astral bodies before. But if you beat up the astral body, does that sort of repercussion? Do you get repercussions on your physical body? I don't know.
Yeah, you do, because anything which affects the energetic body also affects the physical body. So
I think that would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, you get those people with phantom pain, don't you? Well,
phantom limbs, yeah.
Yeah, they have an amputated limb, don't they? And they still have pain or itchiness in it, don't they?
That's what the otherkin say, don't they? Those otherkin people. They say that
you're not talking about furries, are you?
The furries who wear those tails, don't they? They wear those fake fur tails in public because they think they're wolves. But they say, like, because
they're more than furries. They call themselves otherkin.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a werewolf trapped inside a man's body, a fat man's body, a fat autistic man's body who happens to be ugly.
But they that's their whole shtick, though, isn't it? That they say, like, because we have like phantom limb phenomena, that means that we can become werewolves, because if you can have a phantom limb, why not have a phantom whole body of a wolf and mooch about? I suppose. I don't know. That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Sort of makes sense.
So werewolf theories. So you got what do you think's the more likely? Do you think so you've got lycanthropy, where someone's just mental and they act out as a wolf. You've also got the is it the skinwalkers that turn their skin inside out, and the inside of their skin's got fur on it?
That's the native Indians, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Native Americans. And then you've got the other theory, which is just the turns into a wolf.
Yeah, this gets really woo-woo with the whole werewolf thing, because it's like it's see, I'm desperately bluffing here while I find my notes, but I can't find them. Oh my god!
This is. Are we gonna get a Sony for this one? Are we? In the podcasting awards.
Well, so I think like what I said before, like those French blokes, the Henry Bouget and Pierre Delancre, they said that like Bouget.
Give me any of those words to read, and I'll read them, and I'll make it proper froggy.
Yeah, Hobbit's our local francophile.
Bouget.
Baguette.
Bourgette.
Oh,
That's probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they claim that like werewolves are witches. Witches transform themselves into werewolves at the Sabbath. So they're obviously like they're not transforming themselves physically because there's not going to be enough. There's the molecule factor, isn't it? Like if I turned into a wolf, I'm going to lose loads of molecules, aren't I? So like when I turn back again, there's not going to be enough molecules to turn back into a physical human, is there? So it's got to be an astral thing, isn't it? An astral sort of being.
It's more than just the matter. I mean, when you talk about the energetic body, one of the things which I thought about 10 years ago, my specialty is medical science, if anyone's wondering. And I just thought to myself, yeah, it's very interesting because we're doing stem cells at the time. And I thought, yeah, it's very interesting that you put this stem cell next to a tissue and it will take on the property of that tissue. But what is it in the body which says, all right, you're kidney tissue? No, you're not kidney tissue. You're going to be a capillary in that. You're not capillary. You're a nephron, and you're connective tissue. You're the border of the kidney. Well, how do you tell that? Because there's no there's nothing in the DNA which says it. So my suspicion is that the DNA is a receiver and transmitter of information, not just chemical but electromagnetic, and these. You've got an energetic skeleton, and in the energetic skeleton is what the tissues build itself on. So when you're shape-shifting from like human female form to werewolf form or bat or whatever it is, it's a skeleton which is just shape-shift from one to the other. So and the reason I say that is because if you're controlling this body, you have to be able to control the limbs, and so therefore it can't just be completely alien. I don't think someone can transform into an octopus or a spider or squid because it's too alien. How do you coordinate all those limbs? But you can transform into, say, a bat or a horse or a wolf because they've also got 4 limbs, and therefore it's quite easy to control them. So likewise, if part of that body is chopped off or damaged, when you transform back, because the attack happened to your energetic skeleton, then it will affect all shapes you take on. So yeah, I well suspect that. Probably voodoo works on a similar basis to this as well.
It's like when it goes down to the not the subatomic, but the microscopic level. I mean, bacteria, apparently if you cut a bacteria in half, the missing half grows back, doesn't it? Unless I've read that wrong. But well, that's just totally freaky, isn't it?
It's certainly true of earthworms, and the fact is the way bacteria reproduce asexually is through fission. So if you cut a bacteria in half, effectively, now this is the thing, when you cut, because you've got a bacteria is a hang on, I don't want to, because you've got prokaryotic cells and you've got eukaryotic cells, and eukaryotic cells are more interesting. They got a lot more things going on inside them. The prokaryotic cells are quite basic, but even does a prokaryotic cell have a nucleus? Because I'm thinking if you've just like cut a bit of a cell and all you got in there is a bit of plasma and nothing else, then all you've just done is you've made that bacterium a bit smaller. But if you cut it right half down in the middle, could that reproduce? I mean, it has to, because that's how fission works. So yes, that would happen. Yeah,
that's really strange. That's really strange.
I had to think about that. That's the problem with education. It makes my brain slower.
But what you were saying about exoskeleton sort of thing, like perhaps like some sort of like demonic entity could not sort of hijack the astral body, but actually say there's a witch doing a ritual. Could some sort of demon, like just like actually surround the witch like an exoskeleton, not like
Well,
possess it, but
I'm
they
really
surround
glad
it.
Well,
I'm really glad you
possession
said that.
victims are supposed to have are supposed to be able to do like really weird things, aren't they?
Well, they got strength like of 10 men in that. haven't
Yeah,
they?
and they're really flexible, aren't they? Because again back to that story we heard about the werewolf of the werewolf is Southend Werewolf, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bill Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah, basically what happened to him, Hobbit, was he used to go and get locked up down the police station when he felt one of his episodes going on, and one time he managed to get his head and arm outside the prison cell flap.
The
You know the flap
observation
they
flap,
passed. Yeah, the one they flap. Did you hear this bit? Zero.
That's incredible.
He got his shoulder, he got his head and his shoulder through, didn't he? And his arm.
and he was attacking people.
I want to say, Zero, what you said then actually ties into the story we're talking about first of all. And I'm reading it now, the actual proper story about how masturbation opens spiritual portals. So I'll read. Actually, in fact, shall I read the proper article instead of like the feminist reading?
Yeah.
Because it's not too long. So, people who cannot control the urge to masturbate or watch pornography are almost always plagued with a sexual devil, maybe more than one. In the world of the spirit and according to Jesus Christ, the sexual thought is the same as the sexual act, and that's in Matthew chapter 5, verse 28. When we use the powerful force of imagining something as if it were real, we are actually attracting that which we imagine into physical being. When we imagine having sex with another via masturbation, we're actually summoning the power of the spirit realm to manifest the thing we're imagining. I mean, this is true of things which are not related to masturbation, because that is what the act of creation is. We've all heard about the law of attraction by now, made popular from books and movies like The Secret. Well, the law of attraction also works with sexual imaginings. There are such things as sex demons, and the danger in masturbating is that one could inadvertently summon a sex demon to attach itself to you through the act of masturbating. And once that demon attaches, it is difficult to get it to leave. It will drive you to masturbate, even when you don't want to. You'll be hit with urges to play with yourself so powerful that only an orgasm will allow you some temporary relief. In worst case scenarios, the one demon may gather other unclean spirits to itself to also attach to your life. That way it can wrap you tighter in its web of control, making it that much more difficult for you to get free, and many never do. And then he quotes here Matthew's chapter 12, verse 43 to 45. By engaging in those acts of sexual impurity, you're giving such evil spirits legal access into your life, and they will remain, causing untold personal pain, guilt, and shame until the more powerful force of Jesus Christ is used against them to expel them from your life for good. And it says, see Luke 8:29, Luke 9:39, and verse 42, Galatians 15:19 to 21, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, 17 to 18. So I wanted to mention that because about spiritual bodies, energetic skeletons was the term I think I used. Yeah, things which aren't you can attach themselves to you, and they can leech your energy. And I well believe that. I think the act of masturbation, Card. I even had to talk with my worker at work. He started it, by the way, not me. He was talking about tantric sex and how he's been practicing orgasming without coming, and he says he feels a lot more energetic for it. I'm just like, that's great, but could you carry on with your work whilst I write this invoice, please? And it's like, I really like these sort of conversations. They're definitely the sort of thing which, by the way, I'm going to get him to listen to this tomorrow if he turns up to work. He did say he was going to book some time off. But I'm not mentioning you by name, so don't worry. Don't feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I think this whole werewolf thing, it's all like this glamour and fascination, isn't it? I think these witches get worked up. They get so worked up, and that because I think the whole of witchcraft is glamour and fascination, isn't it? It's casting glamour, isn't it?
It's funny you talk about witches and werewolves because during the 15th, right the way up to the 18th century, there were actually joint witch and werewolf trials. These
in
were
France, yeah.
And Switzerland as well. What is now Switzerland, it says. Accusations of lycanthropy, transformation into wolf, were mixed with accusations of wolf riding or wolf charming. In 1598, the case of Peter Stump led to a significant peak in both interest and persecution of supposed werewolves, primarily in French-speaking and German-speaking Europe. Werewolf trials reached Estonia in the 17th century and would become the most common form of witch trial in that country. The phenomenon persisted longest in Bavaria and Austria, with persecution of wolf charmers persisting until well after 1650. The final cases being recorded in the early 18th century in Carinthia and Styria.
Yeah, Peter Stump was a right nutcase, yeah. He actually claimed to be a werewolf, didn't he? He had that magic belt made from a pelt of a wolf, and he'd put it on before he did his dastardly deeds. Yeah, he's a right nutcase, yeah.
Well, I've actually got I found a webpage that's got the five most famous historical accounts of werewolf sightings. So it starts with Peter Stubb, the werewolf farmer of Bedburg in 1589. According to Peter Stubb, a farmer in the Rhineland lived just outside the town of Bedburg during a time when there was a huge amount of political and religious upheaval. The part of Germany where Stubb lived had been laid waste during the Cologne War between Catholics and Protestants. Now citizens
Did you say Clone War?
Cologne War, yeah.
Oh,
Not Clone War. Not Clone War. This isn't Star Wars.
I was just going to say, what was the Mandalorian a Baptist?
Now, citizens of the town were being killed, and rumours began to circulate about a wolf-like creature roaming around, killing both people and livestock. It was described as greedy, strong and mighty, with eyes great and large, which the night sparkled unto brands of fire. A mouth great and wide, and the most sharp and cruel teeth, a huge body and mighty paws.
I'm almost tempted to put this in the chat, but Hemi, I've put a link from Mac Major's website into the Fortean Times Telegram group. And all I want to say to the chat, if we don't talk about it, is none of us are perfect. We're all human beings, and we all make mistakes.
So they attempted for several years to capture and kill him, but no success. But in 1589, a group of men tracked the creature and encircled it with their dogs. When the hunters closed in, they found not a wolf but Stubb. It's not clear whether the townsman actually saw Stubb transform or if he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you, my child. Gesundheit. Atisue. Is he going for free time? I always think it's greedy when someone sneezes more than twice.
do you know why? Do you know why you bless someone when they sneeze?
Yeah, because you don't want their soul to leave them.
No, yeah, sort of, because they actually believe that when you sneezed, the soul left the body for a couple of seconds, and in that time it could have been taken over by a spirit.
Yeah, Africans believe that when you fart, you're expelling demons, don't they? It's the parallel to that. But
if you had bad curry, then you certainly are expelling demons.
I think the missus would agree with that one.
Is that Beelzebub come to visit us?
Worse than him, mate.
Stick a roll of toilet roll in the fridge if you're going to have a curry. That's like a good
So Stubb was tortured and confessed to killing one man, 2 pregnant women, and 13 children. According to a pamphlet circulating in London the next year, he further told his captors that he made a pact with the devil, and when he was 12 years old, exchanged his soul for various otherworldly pleasures.
Oh, here's the thing. I will relate this to the chat I had. It was yesterday. Sorry, just so much happened that week. It's hard to think what day happened when. But apparently, Lucifer was incarnated 2,000 years before Christ and appeared to the Japanese as one of their emperors and gave them lots of knowledge about music and society and technology and all that, which probably explains why the Chinese people are so small-souled. Maybe the Chinese at one point were like better than what they are. but Lucifer just brought them down.
Well,
And they mention the
it's
devil.
funny. It's funny because when Jesus was in the desert, the devil offered him the kingdoms of the world, didn't he?
Yeah, because the devil rules this world, and Jesus never said, "No, that's a load of bollocks, mate. You don't rule anything." It's just it was accepted, like, yeah, that's the
This is
devil.
my
he's the
dad's
ruler.
this is my dad's gaff. You can't offer me it. He never said
Yeah,
that, did he?
No, he didn't. I mean, you'd think that would probably be the most easiest thing to say, but the devil does rule this world, and he ruled China, which I thought was interesting because I've never heard that story before. And I mentioned the devil is because you just talked about it in this article. Robert Johnson, who was one of those famous blues musicians, he sold his soul to the devil for fame and notoriety, and he met him at a crossroads. Well, Lucifer is the angel of music, so yeah, all music is of the devil. Do not listen to music.
Well, so Stubb didn't feel this was enough incentive on its own, so Satan gave him a belt that allowed him to turn into a wolf. He used it to commit any number of atrocities, including incest, murder, and cannibalism.
Wait, as a wolf, you're committing incest.
Yeah,
So
I thought that was a
what's
bit
the-
of a weird one to put in there. I don't get how incest really fits into that one.
Wait, so does that mean like he's whilst a wolf, he's found a she wolf and they've had wolf cubs, and then he's fucking the wolf cubs, or does he mean like he's got like sons and daughters which are human, and then has sex with them as a wolf?
Or
In which
sister.
case, or sister? Is that incest or is that bestiality?
Well, anyway, it ended quite well for him because he was executed on October 31st, 1589. Horribly and gruesomely, he was lashed to a wheel while the flesh was torn from him with heated pincers. All his limbs were broken, he was decapitated, and as a final step his body was burned. His mistress and daughter were also accused of incest. Oh, it was daughter then. Mistress and daughter were also accused of incest and were burned alive. Stubbs' head was mounted on the body of a wolf and set in public as a warning to others who might be considering lycanthropy.
Giles Garnier, the werewolf on the doll.
Off doll, not on the doll.
The werewolf on the rock and roll. He sold the soul to the devil and went on the rock and roll.
Bloody hell, I've just come up with a theory. I'm going to get another drink and I'll come back. I've just come up with a theory about the werewolves. Hang on.
Go on. Let's hear this wisdom before it gets.
No, he's gone to get a drink. Do Giles Garnier. That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
Giles, that's Gillies, and is it French?
Wait, is this a French bloke? Or, I'm looking at the YouTube page, but have you got this article up on the chat?
I think it's Vintage News. It's
Vintage News.
You see?
Here we go.
Yeah, I'll put it in
So
there.
I can look at it myself because the YouTube chat is a bit blurry. So French Charles. So Gilles Garnier, the werewolf of Dole. Werewolves.com reports that Gilles Garnier lived outside the French town of Dole and was essentially an ermite. They say a hermit, but I think if you got H, it can be, say, an hermit. A while after Garnier's residence began, children from the town began to disappear or to turn up dead, mutilated and dissected. Local law authorities concluded it must be the work of a werewolf and encouraged the citizenry to be on the lookout for and to hunt the wolf. A group of men from near Dole were doing just that when they spotted what appeared to be a werewolf looming over the body of a child. When they came close enough, they saw it wasn't a wolf, it was the hermit Garnier. Likely after torture, he confessed at his trial, saying that he'd been visited by the ghost or demon, which had given him an ointment that would turn him into a wolf.
What, it happened to run out just as the villagers got near?
He confessed to killing and eating several children and ventured into the woods, and said he shared the meat with his wife. Garnier was found guilty of witchcraft and lycanthropy and was burned at the stake.
There was a couple of bad blokes called Gilles. Is it Gilles or whatever? Because there's that French serial killer. Is it Gilles de Rais? Is it?
Gilles de Rais, yeah.
Yeah. Because he said when he was killed by the guillotine that he was looking forward to hearing the blood gushing from the stump, wasn't he?
He's a right piece of work, Gilles de Rais. Fucking hell.
I wonder why these werewolves are going for children. Why aren't they going for sheep? Or is it just that the ones that go for sheep don't really get the same sort of notoriety? So that this could actually happen fairly commonplace? Because there's been a spate of sheep mutilation going on recently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so some of it's happened in Northamptonshire, hasn't it?
It's like
Oh.
pentagram spray painted on the bodies, weren't it? It's like...
Does that mean there's some sort of could there be some sort of werewolf cult, maybe?
I was going to say, you've got a werewolf which is trying to... But the thing is, I mean, if children were to go disappearing these days, people would just assume, it was some sort of kebab gang that was just, raping them and turning them into doner meat. So no one was suspecting them of being werewolves. What if all these sex gangs are actually just a cover so these werewolves can continue eating people, children, and, just getting away with it, and blaming it on the poor innocent Paki strangers who just want to come to this country and share their delicious meat. So in fact, what if we were racist for no good reason, and it turns out this was all an insidious plot by werewolves? You know what? I think we might have learned something today. Because I'm looking at this Mac Miller site. I've got I keep calling him Mac Miller. He's Mac Mayer.
He's that comedian, isn't he?
Mac Miller. Mac Miller's the Jewish singer who topped himself, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
Apparently, Mac Miller's last video, he did the is it the Illuminati ritual of whatever it was, where rebirth or rebury? His last video, he was in a coffin.
Well,
I'm sorry for just new to me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for mentioning that name because Mac Mayer from the Eden Decoded thing. I want to say now, and I mean, he's opened my eyes to a lot of things here, especially about like how demons possess you during masturbation. That's why you get all these weird fantasies, which are just not right. Now, he's got a book out. It's PDF format only, so you have to take it to a printer's. But for $20, you can own a book called Negrophobia. Negrophobia is the book that racists and white supremacists don't want you to read. It's a book that opened your mind like never before. And I'm wondering if he's come to the same conclusion I am, that in fact it's not Paki rape gangs which are killing and eating children. It is in fact werewolves, and they're blaming Pakis on it because, always blame the outsider. So we never look to our own.
And what's going on with corner shops?
Some of them are in the middle of the road.
What's the
Well, corners are where demons appear, aren't they? And they're all taking over the corner shops of Britain, aren't they? Are they opening portals or something?
Well, they got portals open at 24 hours a day in petrol stations.
Yes.
I mean, there's just something, in the world where we can say the Chinese are materialistic, the Indians are spiritual, the Europeans are magic, but the Pakistanis, my God, I mean, it's like them and petrol go together like peas in a pod.
Well, and sort of if I can segue this into if they are werewolves, killing all these sheep and the odd child, when you think about it, a werewolf, he's a serial killer, isn't he? The werewolf.
Yeah.
And Charles Manson, I remember an interview with him. He said he was spiritually allied to the wolf. So maybe there is a whole sort of dark underbelly to all this. Well, I suppose it's pretty dark anyway if you're a werewolf. I mean, it's not exactly.
Wasn't there an SS squadron or something? The werewolves, wasn't there?
The werewolf order, yeah. The paramilitaries, yeah. Sort of not stay behind armies, but yeah, they were
like Dad's Army, but with better clothes.
I got the book to the werewolf group, yeah.
I think Operation Werewolf was supposed to be like a guerrilla warfare campaign if Germany lost, and its plan was to set up. His plan was to set up a European Union with Germany being the head of it, and to import infinity Negroes from Africa so that people would understand that, I don't know what, they'd be fighting the Negroes instead of the Germans. So I think I might, by the end of this, convince myself that they're actually satanic Nazi death cults, and it was never the 4x2s or the mechanical diggers.
But when you think about it, if you see if we're going to say lycanthropy is sort of satanic, God reversed does reverse to dog, doesn't it? And like a
And
dog.
dog is our creation, because before wolf was God's creation, but we created dog. I think you're onto something there.
Have we got dog DNA inside us? Or...
Well, some women have got a lot of dog DNA.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Oh God!
Hey, just as a segue, but I got to mention this because, seeing as I'm ironically saying satanic Nazi death cults, but I had a dream about Alex Jones this morning, and I was shaking his hand and thanking him for what he'd done. And he was sort of like talking about workout regimen. He's like, "Do you lift? Do you lift?" And I was like, "Well, if you get on my back, I can squat you." So I squatted Alex Jones 10 times, and he's not a slight man. He is. He's quite big.
It's not an uncommon problem, Hobbit. You're insane.
Yeah, but why do I have a dream about Alex Jones? I haven't thought about him in years.
Did you wake up and your pajamas were all sticky, Hobbit?
Joke's on you, I sleep in the nude.
I always sleep fully clothed in case I have to like jump into action. I haven't had to do it yet, but I've always done that. Yeah.
I think if I needed to jump into action, being stark bollock naked, waving a poker at someone, it's probably going to be quite disconcerting.
It certainly make a demon think twice if they come to take you away.
I just need to remind myself, like, if ever there's someone that comes into the house like 3 a.m. and it's like, "Oh, I've come to burgle you," I just chase them with a poker and be like naked
and you wang her out.
Just sort of shouting at the top of my voice, and of course the fear is giving me a full mass erection. What the fuck?
That must have happened, mustn't it? Like...
Well, I mean, it's got to be like the best sort of like, thing to like startle someone that's intruding on your house. It's just to approach them naked and just the challenge of wanna fuck. And, it's because you can sort of say, "Oh, yeah, I was tired and I wasn't thinking straight. And so I came to, I meant to say wanna fuck with me, but,
Is that like when a woman's being raped, they should shout fire instead? Is it a similar sort of, is it a similar sort of theory to that? Is it?
It's a non sequitur. I mean, if you just say something that confuses them.
Yeah. Because apparently, if a woman shouts "help, help! I'm being raped," she's actually less likely to get help. So apparently, the thinking is that instead they shout "fire," which means someone's more likely to respond.
What if she shouted out the N-word, and then the police could come and arrest her? But in order to arrest her, they'd have to take the assailant off of her.
Yeah, but they'd let him off because she racially abused him.
Yeah, but then what if But at least she'd stop getting raped. And she could say, "Well, as a woman, I should be allowed to not be arrested for saying the N-word." And then the police were like, "Yeah, you're right, pussy pass, you're free to go."
Rapists are partial werewolves, aren't they? They're like halfway there to the sort of like total bestial sort of like caveman.
Well, they're actually, if you want to bring it back round to Hobbit's point, they've been taken over by the sexual demon, haven't they?
That's the bestial lust, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they've literally gone to the point where it's like they've stopped considering the consequences of "I could go to prison for a long time for this," into a case of like, "Yeah, demons are controlling me, turning me into a puppet."
Cummies now. Cummies immediately.
I've never understood rapists and that. I mean, I thought, like, God, if you're that fucking obsessed with having a shag, I mean, why not just? I know I don't agree with masturbation, but why not just have a wank? I mean, why are they so fucking?
Apparently a lot of it's not actually about it's not about the sex at all, is it? It's about
the power.
It's the power.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah, because I was just going to say maybe it's a thing of like the sex demons are just like, "Oh, we've had our fun with this one now, so let's just get him to do something really destructive. Yeah, let's do a rape. That'll do it."
Mm.
But this whole like becoming a monster thing, like the ancient Egyptians and I think the ancient Babylonians as well. Like when you die, like the gates to the higher dimensions, they're all guarded by terrible monsters, aren't they? Just that'll rip you to shreds.
Well, we're talking about wolves. You got Cerberus, haven't you? The is it 2-headed, 3-headed,
many-headed? Oh, I'm thinking of Hydra.
So maybe like to bypass these guardian monsters, you have to become a monster yourself, like a werewolf, and then you go straight through, sort of thing. They don't notice you; they think you're one of them, and you can just go straight to like Nirvana or something. I don't know.
Well, back to werewolves. What about another French bloke? I mean, what is it about the French and being werewolves? They seem to have seems to be a bit of a thing of theirs, doesn't it? According to Mental Floss, what information known about Jacques Roulet comes from an 1865 account from Sabine Baring-Gould. Reportedly in 1598, some men came upon the mutilated body of a boy in the woods. 2 wolves were spotted tearing at the body, but took off as men approached. The men pursued the wolves and following their bloody tracks until they lost them. At the same time, the men spotted Roulet, bloody, half-naked and crouching in the woods nearby. Roulet was captured and arrested. He confessed to the murder and said that he had a salve that turned him into a wolf. He further said the boy wasn't his first such crime and he had killed and eaten others. Roulet's confession was unusual in that there's no evidence that he gave it under torture. He made no claims to witchcraft or of having made a deal with the devil. He was convicted of murder, cannibalism and lycanthropy and was sentenced to death. His case was appealed though and he ended up being determined feeble-minded. He was instead sentenced to undergo religious education for 2 years and sent to an asylum.
What a re-education camp. Yeah. Oh,
may I just say that by the way, spoilers if you haven't played Kingdom Come Deliverance, I'm going to be talking about a bit of that. There is an element. There's a question in one of the parts of the game where there is a salve which is given to these women, and they take it because they want to summon the devil to have sex with them. And the women take it, they smear the salve over you, so you start hallucinating. And then when you come to, the women have changed into the forms of a chicken, a mare, and a cow, and you can choose to have sex with one of them.
That sounds wholesome.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and the great thing about that is, and again, spoilers. So if you haven't played Kingdom Come, I'm just like going la 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 for the next 10 seconds. There are 2 assailants which come to you in the night, and they look like demons. And you can fight them, and you can kill them. And if you do, you see the corpses of 2 woodsmen. Or you can fight them. You can run away, and they'll kill the women. And for all you know, they were demons. But I thought to myself, what if I was to fight them, and instead of like killing them, just start like punching them until they go unconscious? Well, then the other one kills the women, so you can't do it. Yeah. So
the werewolves of Poligny. What is that? It's probably French, I bet.
The werewolves of polygamy.
The polygamy werewolves. Are we on vintage news?
Yeah. Do you want to read this one?
The wolves of polygamy.
Polygamy.
The werewolves. The werewolves of. The images are loading. The werewolves of Poligny. Poligny. The story involves a group, according to werewolves.com. The story begins with a traveller passing through the French town of Poligny who was attacked by a wolf. The traveller fought the beast, wounding it and causing it to flee. The man followed the blood trail left by the injured beast, and it led him to the door of a house in which a woman was binding her husband's injured arm. The traveller was suspicious, and he reported the entire incident to the authorities, who captured the man and tortured him. Michel Verdun confessed that he was a shapeshifter. He also confessed to murder, cannibalism, and trafficking with the devil. Lastly, he named 2 other men who were also shapeshifters, Pierre Bourgeot and Philibert Montot. The 2 named men were brought in for questioning, and Bourgeot confessed also, shapeshifting and committing some other pretty heinous crimes. Some other pretty heinous crimes?
Yeah.
That's what it says. He committed some pretty heinous crimes. Mental Floss expands on Bourgeois' confession, saying that Bourgeois told of making a deal with three mysterious strangers to protect his sheep. Bourgeois claimed he was told only later the deal included renouncing God, and that he received the ointment from Verdun which allowed him to shapeshift, and the two men jointly killed at least two children. It is not known for certain if Montaut also confessed, but it is known that he was executed with the other two men. Now, I just want to briefly say, renouncing God. Do you remember, was it 10 or so years ago when atheism was all the rage on the internet, and you had all these people uploading videos of themselves saying, I renounce the Holy Spirit or something like that?
Tips Fedora.
Yeah, and it was all these people saying, "Oh, yeah, if you do this, you know that's like really offensive to Christians and all that," and you do it, and there's all these people sort of like doing it. They're like silly teenagers, and even when I was like proper like atheist, anti-theist, going like, "Yeah, this God's a dick," and then realizing actually my problem wasn't that, but it was a certain long-nosed tribe. It was just that. I'm not going to do this. This is stupid because it's giving credence to these stories. But I think even more than that, like deep down inside, I was like, no, there's something disturbing about this. I don't like it, and I don't know who was the ones that promoting this thing. But I get a feeling that the people that are promoting this were the sorts like, you could be atheist and slagging off Christianity all day, but you start slagging off the other Semitic religions, and they'd be like, oh no, you've been banned from a Facebook group.
Well, the Protestant church bishops renounced God, didn't they? There was that. I was reading the other day. There was some. What's it called? Bloody hell!
Oh, didn't Justin Welby say that he's not sure that?
Yeah.
He said he wasn't sure if God exists or he doesn't believe God exists or something.
Yeah, and
I know the piece you're talking about because I read that as well.
No, this was another one back in the 80s.
There was one recently. They sent a
questionnaire. Yeah. They sent a questionnaire to all the Protestant bishops, and almost like half of them said like, "Well, we don't really believe in God. We think it's a sort of." I don't know what they said, but
they certainly act like they don't believe in God because they are some of the least spiritual people I've met, and I've gone to church quite a few times and dismayed with the priests there. This is why I pray by myself.
They're just social workers, aren't they? They're just like leftist social workers, aren't they? It's just ridiculous.
Physiognomy is
physiognomy.
Physiognomy. Thank you.
You miss out a few of those letters, Hobbit.
If I wasn't supposed to pronounce those letters, then why are they spelt in them? So, I think it's real. It is real, and you look at their sort of faces, and it's just like these people shouldn't be leading a bog brush, yet alone a church.
Well, all I will say is if you've listened to the latest episode of Land of Grub and Glory, have a look at the early life of Justin Welby.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. But no, this is the thing. Recently, the Church of England came out saying that we're also guilty for the treatment of the Jews and should feel guilty for what happened to them. And I didn't read more than the headline because I don't want to, but I'm just wondering, are they saying like, yeah, because when the Allies bombed the Germans, they weren't able to feed their prisoners, and therefore certain people starved to death, and that's terrible. And it's like, you do realise there was a war on, right? It seems let me have a look at this. You carry on talking about werewolves, and I'm looking at this.
It's just like imagine a sincere seeker who reads the Bible every day. And he's getting into Christianity, and then he decides, like, well, I'm going to go to church. So he goes down to his local church, and there's all sort of like rainbows and like female priests, and like, I mean, they've been infiltrated, haven't they? I mean,
absolutely. They're not even following the Bible, are they?
Well, no, it's just like the Bible. We don't have to follow the Bible. That's all like old stuff, isn't it? We don't have to follow
We know better than God.
Yeah, it's just like, But it's only in the last 40 years, though, because the Church of England I think it was 1975, that was certainly different back then.
It's funny, isn't it? No, 1945, A lot of traditions went after 1945. It's really, really funny. It's almost like something was spread throughout Europe at the during and after the World War Two, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? Just odd.
Because a lot of them are Freemasons as well. I mean, a lot of Protestant bishops and vicars are Freemasons, although they're not supposed to be.
Freemasons.
That's that weird thing, isn't it? Like, they're not supposed to be Freemasons, but they sort of are totally Freemasons. They're not supposed to be, but they sort of are totally Freemasons.
Yeah.
So it's like, and as someone pointed out the other day, the actual basic symbol of Freemasonry can quite easily be changed to a Star of David. You know, the square and compasses can quite easily look like a Star of David, just with the addition of a couple of lines. So, you know,
We've got one more werewolf story. We've got in 1685, Ansbach in Germany was part of the Holy Roman Empire. The district was faced with an actual wolf which was killing and eating their livestock and eventually made the step up to killing people. The terrified citizens were certainly not only was the culprit a werewolf, but the wolf was really the town's former mayor, who is never named in the accounts but is clearly disliked, back from the dead and in the form of a wolf. A hunting party went after the wolf with a number of dogs and drove the wolf into a well where it was killed. The citizens, still firmly believed the animal was a werewolf, cut off the wolf's nose, put the mask of a human face on it, dressed it in men's clothing and hung it from a pole, presumably as a warning to any other werewolves who might consider that area a good hunting ground.
Fucking hell.
Jesus, they weren't messing around, were they?
Was this in France as well?
Yeah, this is... no, that's Germany. That's the Wolf of Ansbach.
Germany. Yeah. Bloody hell.
Because didn't you say haven't you got a couple of lycanthropy cases? Because I know there's a couple from Germany, isn't there?
Well, there's that weird one at Crackpot Hall, isn't there?
Oh yeah, Crackpot Hall.
Oh, okay. I found the story, and it's from the Church of England. Christians are to blame for the Holocaust, says Church of England. Centuries of Christian anti-Semitism led to the Holocaust, a landmark Church of England report has concluded. There you go. So the Archbishop of Canterbury says that we're all to blame for it and we should feel terrible and we should give them like anything they ask for.
It's bloody weird, because up until like the mid-70s, the Church of England was quite conservative, and because they produced that report on exorcism. I've got the PDF of.
You know the problem with conservatism, Zero. I mean, what is it that they're conserving? It just seems to be that the conservatives.
What did someone call it the other day? Did they call it lag liberalism?
Yeah, because they're conserving what liberals have promoted 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you know, like it's like, well, you know, you're for child drag queens. I'm just for gay marriage.
But like, are they told what to believe? Like, do they get like a letter in the post or something saying like, well, all right, lads, you know, like you've followed the Bible and all that, but now you've got to get into the new plan, sort of thing? Because it seems like they're all on board, aren't they? They're all definitely on board with the sort of like lovey-dovey rainbow robes, anything goes, like, you know.
Do you know what put me off of going to church for mass and stuff like that? Because I went a couple of years ago, and I went to a church I used to go to, and the priest that was there, I think I met him actually 20 or so, no, a bit more than 20 years ago. But anyway, still the same priest, and he was doing his, I think it's called the homily, where you're making like a prayer for various things. I'm not too good on the technical terms of the Catholic Church, but you say, and please let us pray for our Pope, so that he may have strength and guidance to this day. It's like, why the fuck do I want to vote? Why do I want to pray for that Pope? And I was always tempted to walk out of it there and then, because I can't stand the Pope. And you know what? Fair play to the Catholics who've written a letter asking for his resignation, because apparently he had something to do with the previous Pope being deposed. And so it's... Sorry if I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but I just...
Well, no, I'm fascinated by all this stuff, because...
My point being is just like the church as it is, and the priests who lead it and the homilies really put me off of going to church, but I still pray and believe in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. I'm not even saying that unironically. I used to listen to Americans say it and just like, bro, that's cringe. And now I understand. It's like, yeah, it is cringe because they're saying it, but it doesn't mean it's not true. But yeah, no, the church puts me off of it, and the only people that are left with it are just like horrible, soulless people who go, oh yes, well, if the Archbishop of Canterbury says it's so, then it is, and we should give everything to Israel. We shouldn't criticise the treatment of the Palestinians because they're anti-Semitic too. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to listen to songs of praise again with this awful fucking theme tune. Have I told you about my theory that the songs of praise theme tune is weaponised?
God, is that still on TV? God.
Yeah, it's still on telly, and it's still got the same theme tune, and it's bloody awful. And
doesn't that black woman that used to do Blue Peter do it now?
I think I know the one who used to like straighten
Diane something or other.
Diane Abbott.
I can't remember her name. It's Diane something. Anyway, to round off, I was going to talk about the Werewolf Conference. This story's from 2015. Conference about werewolves is being staged by a university, offering participants the chance to explore the creature's cultural significance and meet real wolves. So, who are the people interested in spending 3 days learning about all things lycanthrope? The crowd gathering in the atrium of the University of Hertfordshire's de Havilland campus sip their coffee and nibble on biscuits. For all intents and purposes, they could be attending a conference on rather run-of-the-mill topic. But a closer look at the schedule reveals one of the first talks is entitled Trash, Monsters and Freaks, and the biscuits are decorated with motifs of Little Red Riding Hood and her nemesis, the wolf.
You mean her lover? until the evil cis white patriarchy came in to stop.
There are quite a lot of problem glasses on show at this conference.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can conclude that like werewolves are a bunch of wankers, and like, God bloody hell, like
God, look at the size of her nose. You could park a bomber on that.
But what about having sex? Having sex doggy style. I mean, that's like an unconscious urge to go back to this bestial level, isn't it? As is sodomy.
I would say it's a conscious urge not to look at such a hideous face.
A hideous countenance.
Yeah, but it's going back to like acting like dogs, isn't it? And or wolves or like.
Can I just say that this looks like a conference that's being led by women, and women are disgusting creatures. I was in.
Is this? I just wonder if like the werewolf conference, they're just like they're like edgy vampires. Satanism is edgy atheists. I think werewolves are edgy vampires, aren't they?
I was going to say that they've definitely watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and they're all fans of Harry Potter.
They definitely are like Harry Potter fans, don't they?
They queued up, didn't they? They queued up for the first edition, didn't they? Outside bloody Barnes and Noble, didn't they?
Well, I got to say, I mean, I'm looking at this hideous gargoyle creature that you've got there on the screen at the moment, and it reminds me of this artwork I saw. The Albertina's got this exhibition of some stupid Bint's work in the basement level at the moment. I think her name's Maria something or other, and it was fucking disgusting. And I just sort of quickly went through it, and it was just like, look at
this Cager Frank. She's got one of those things in to stop her rootling around in the dirt. That's what those septum things. That's why they put them on pigs for, isn't it? To stop them rootling around in the dirt.
Oh, is that what it's about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So next time you see a bird with one of those, tell her, do you like rootling around in the dirt? Is that why you're going to have it on there?
Oh, is that to stop you from eating the truffles you've been finding?
Yeah. Beverly Deer, an MA student, said she had attended a vampire conference run by the same organisers a few years ago, which had inspired her to study topics she'd looked there. Vampires, aren't they?
I mean, is it a bit hypocritical?
Do you think they went from Harry Potter to Twilight or Twilight to Harry Potter?
Is it hypocritical of us that we're taking the piss out of people studying vampires and other cryptids, and we're studying vampires and other cryptids.
Yeah, but they're doing it in like a weird, like a Harry Potter kind of. They're not interested in the natural history of a werewolf. It's like, oh, I like those hunky werewolves, and it's kind of basically the
I wish
tone
one
of the
of those,
show, isn't it?
Those werewolves would come and rape and eat me.
Yeah.
So we're the cool kids in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's all right then. So I don't have to feel self-conscious.
No.
No. Miss Frank said the conference offered the opportunity to talk about things like Teen Wolf, about popular gothic text from.
Oh, while we're talking about Teen Wolf, we're going to talk about the blooper at the end.
Well, okay. Before you do that, can I just say, whoever BBC.com/news UK England Beta Bucks whatever, whoever do they not do proofreading anymore? Is it seen as racist? Because I was just looking, it's like. Miss Frank said the conference offered. Hey, don't scroll up. I was trying to read it.
Oh, sorry, mate. Here you go. I'll chuck you the link in. You can read it properly.
Yeah. It's BBC. I should have clicked on myself, but I'm being lazy and I'm just looking at the YouTube stream. But there's a bit about Teen Wolf. So where's the BBC link?
There you go. I've just chucked it in chat.
Thank you. Right, so I'm going to chat. Bear with me whilst I scroll down to the bit about Ms. Frank. And there's the horrible gargoyle.
Which horrible gargoyle? Are you talking about the statue, or are you talking about one of the organisers?
But let's talk about the statue. No, where's this bit about Teen Wolf? Teen Wolf.
You need her with the ring stopper rootling around in the dirt, don't you?
Oh yeah. So septum piercings. That's it? Ugh, God, it's horrible. So it's just beneath that. There's another thing. An MA student is about the Tours of Clyde. So Nick Stead from Huddersfield. Am I gone past it?
I think you've gone past it because I.
Look, suffice to say, there was this bit. Oh, okay, it's just those bits there. So why can't I read it? What's wrong with me? It made more sense on the YouTube stream. I'm getting. The point is there was talking about Teen Wolf and Victorian texts about. No, it doesn't say Victorian text. It said Victorian text about werewolf. I'm like.
Little Red Riding Hood isn't about werewolf mythology.
No, but it's about, there's obviously some of these women like the idea that, wolves come and eat my grandmother and maybe this werewolf will rape me before eating me. Or survive and I'll become Mrs. Wolf. And then the evil cis white male woodcutter coming in and stopping the rape from happening. It's just part of
they're all shagging, aren't they?
Yeah,
after the conference, they all get together. They all shagging like doggy werewolf style, like contacting their inner werewolf.
Do you reckon they do what furries do at a furry convention?
Oh God!
Where they fill the bath up with kitty litter.
I shudder to think what's going on in the after party in this place, but it's not going to smell good. That's for sure.
It's not going to smell good.
Ms. Frank said attendees could expect a lot of engaged and lively debate. Debate about what? Oh, actually, I think Gryffindor's best. No, it's Hufflepuff. And a lot of original content, alongside a trip to UK Wolf Conservation Trust near Reading, where they will not be having...
Oh, here you go. I found it. We're covering things that... We're covering things like how it's all changed with Twilight and Teen Wolf. It's broadened my horizons. I want to learn more about where it's come from. I found Teen Wolf for you.
So what's that bloop you wanted to say about Teen Wolf? I've been on enough of a digression here.
They just keep talking about Teen Wolf. They probably talking about the new one. They're not talking about the. They're not talking about the. Jason. What's his name? Michael J. Fox Teen Wolf, are they? They're probably talking about the new...
Oh, that's what Teen Wolf is. I saw a clip from that. Hey, it sounds like your wolf's been aroused by this talk of werewolves. I had a dog collar being shaken in the background.
Yeah, he's got a stuffed toy that he's in the process of disemboweling. And
oh yeah, that's... Oh no, I don't even want to go there. It's just like, yeah, that's good. Whilst I was staying over at this house, there had two house cats there, and one was called Meow, and the other one was called whatever German is for cloud. Hang on. What is German for? No, I don't do this now. Anyway, suffice to say, yeah, they're both castrated, or female equivalent of castrated.
Spayed.
And yeah, that's it. And the female neuter took a shining to me, and so when I'd be laying down, she'd come and like sit on my lap and purr. But of course, does that thing of just like, oh, is that your testicles? Yeah, I'm just going to dig my claws in there. Oh yeah, I'm nice and comfortable now.
Cats really do hate people, don't they?
Well, it just seems to be a thing of like when I'm around women, they just go for my balls. Even the ones who like me.
and on that bombshell, I think it's time to wind the show up.
Oh, we've done our allotted time, have we?
Oh, we've done.
Don't become a werewolf.
Don't become a werewolf. If you are thinking of becoming a werewolf,
They're
don't
evil.
become a werewolf. If not, they're slightly wet.
Although if there's any birds who sort of like into a sort of kinky werewolf scene, I may be interested, but not in a sort of advisory capacity. I could sort of like steer you away from that sort of stuff for some more wholesome. Oh, shut up! But,
and also, chaps, remember. Answers on a postcard to Makita UK Power Tools and mention Fortean words.
Yeah.
For your chance to win the Makita Power Drill, powered by their 18-volt new lithium-ion battery system.
Oh dear. So, night all. Oh, go on
yeah,
then.
goodbye.
Go on then, Hobbit, sign off.
There's got to be a stamped addressed envelope. That bit's important for some reason.
No fucking cheapskates. No, you got to put your stamp on your bloody envelope. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, if they're paying for the postage, they're just going to tell them to jog on.
And is it next week? Next week, you've lined us a guest up, Zero?
Jafer's coming on next week. Yes, an eclectic magician from America. Yeah. An interesting chap. Yeah.
I'll try and be less silly next time.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. We're doing werewolves.
Night all.
Night.